happens when literary rules are boldly rewritten, language becomes an art form in itself, and a touch of chaos meets undeniable genius? Meet Gertrude Stein and E. Cummings, the two literary rebels who said no thanks to rules and yes please to individualism. We're about to unravel their unique writing techniques right here, but for the full scoop on their lives and the ideas that shape them, be sure to watch our other video. Now, get ready, because your guides through this stylish literary rebellion are Arisa, who will be analyzing Gertrude Stein, and Nurfikriya, who will solely focus on E. Cummings. So, let's get to it.
Gertrude Stein doesn't just write, she sort of disassembles language. For her, language itself isn't just a tool to tell a story, it's the main event. Ever tried reading Tender Buttons? It's like decoding a beautiful alien language that's almost English. And her technique? Think of it like this: cubism in prose. She writes in this thing called the continuous present, so everything feels like it's happening right now. And then there's repetition. Lots of it. For example, now, you might think to yourself, it's not that deep, it's just repetition. But the question is, do you get it? She's trying to reveal what she called the bottom nature of something, its absolute core essence. And her writing usually needs to be read aloud to catch its rhythm, music, and even its humor. It's what she called innate orality, and that difficulty you might feel, it's often a deliberate, structured obscurity. She's not being random, she's running linguistic experiments, like focusing on how words associate rather than following typical sentence rules.
Meanwhile, E. Cummings looked at grammar and said, nah fam, capital letters, rare, word order, non-existent. He breaks words apart and puts them back together like Lego bricks out of emotion. Also, he doesn't just write poems, he paints them on a page. Like, take this poem for example. So his big thing is visual impact. The page is basically like his canvas, and a single comma out of place can change the whole vibe. Unlike Stein's stripped down linguistic surgery, Cummings is more about the form itself, becoming the feeling. And it's also related to his inventive use of language. Why, you ask? Well, this meant love mashing words together to make new ones, like the word malicious or puddle wonderful. So that just exploded with imagery and emotion. He even messed with word endings like turning the word stupid to stupidest, adding this playful expressive punch even if it broke the rules.
Well, some of us like structure.
And some of us like poetry that looks like a code only aliens can read.
So, Stein wasn't writing weird for fun. Okay, maybe a little fun, but mostly she was trying to show how our minds actually work. Random, repetitive, all over the place, and as I mentioned, she called it the continuous present. Her big aim was to get at that bottom nature, the core truth of people and things. So her experimental style wasn't random, it was her way of exploring perception, thought, how language can either hide or reveal meaning. She wanted to make language feel new and alive, drawing heavily on ideas from psychology, the visual logic of cubism, and also theories about language itself.
And Cummings, on the other hand, also wanted to shake up poetry, but he took a completely different path. He ditched conventional grammar to create stuff that was visually and emotionally immediate. His poems are meant to grab your eyes as much as your brain. He'd scatter punctuation, letters, and lines across the page to mirror a feeling, a sound, or a bit of irony. So the goal wasn't just to say something, but to completely change how you experience the saying. He basically made the look of words an art form, and honestly, it's iconic. And honestly, if Stein and Cummings had a group chat, it'll just be endless loops of repeated phrases and no punctuation. Autocorrect would honestly lose its mind, bro.
Well, let's be real. Their group chat would look like if a typo had an existential crisis. Reading Gertrude Stein, let's be real, it's an active sport. But that's kind of the beauty of it. She doesn't hand you meaning on a plate, she invites you to co-create it. You have to listen for the rhythm, feel the loops of her sentences, and really engage with the layers of language.
Meanwhile, E.E. Cummings, well, he's that artsy friend who refuses to text in full sentences and sends voice notes instead. But somehow, it slaps. You can't just read and skim through his poems. Like, you have to look at it. Like, actually look at it. Like, every line break, every tiny space, every made-up word demands your full attention to fully understand the whole picture of the poem.
In Stein's structured obscurity, that initial feeling of difficulty often stems from her deep engagement with linguistic theory and psychological realism or cubist principles. She's fundamentally redefining how language can function.
And Cummings is redefining how language can feel and look. Okay, let's put this into practice. We're going to look at a short excerpt from Stein's Susie Asado and Cummings' famous poem, This. I don't actually know how to pronounce that, but we're gonna look at these two poems right next to each other on screen and see these wild styles in action. So firstly, this. What is this? Is it a glitch? A typo? No. That's Cummings being Pete Cummings. This poem literally looks like a falling leaf. He breaks the word loneliness into pieces, spaces it out, and lets it drift down the page like a little lonely leaf. It's not just about reading, it's about seeing the poem itself. The white space, the formatting, all part of the message. It's minimal, sure, but also kind of genius. There's hardly any traditional sense in terms of sentences, but the emotion and the image are incredibly powerful.
Now, let's look at Stein's Susie Asado. Hear that rhythm? Sweet, 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 sweet tea. Susie Asado. This isn't about a clear story in the traditional sense. Stein is using repetition and sound to build a kind of portrait, almost like music or a dance. The words themselves, sweet tea, tool tray sure, slips, slips, hers, creates associations and a feeling, rather than a direct description. It's your continuous present in action. We are experiencing Susie Asado through these looping rhythmic phrases. You have to let the sound and the pattern wash over you to get the essence of it, rather than trying to find a straightforward plot as you would with most poems.
So with this poem, Cummings is giving you this intense visual snapshot and emotion captured in pure form. The meaning is in the shape and the fall.
And with Susie Asado, Stein is using language as sound and rhythm to create an impression, a presence. The meaning emerges from the pattern and the feeling that the words evoke when they're spoken. So both completely break from normal poetry, right? Cummings makes you an active viewer, decoding visual cues, and Stein makes you an active listener, tuning into linguistic rhythms. Totally different methods, but both are pushing language to its limits to make us experience poetry in a brand new way.
So if you ever felt like grammar is suffocating you,
Or you wish storytelling could keep up with the way your thoughts actually flow,
just remember, you're in good company. Some of the most iconic writers have broken every rule in the book.
whether you vibe with Stein's semantic jazz,
Or Cummings' poetic graffiti.
one thing's for sure, you'll never look at a sentence the same way again.
Want more from these rule-breaking legends?
Check out our other deep dive video linked below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay gloriously formless.
Thank you for watching. Bye!